Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I have for you kind of a unique video. I've been thinking of doing this for a long time, but today I've actually got round to it. Today I'm going to be showing you my top 10 rarest tanks in the game. Now obviously I have quite a lot of tanks. Currently got 258 in my garage. I think a couple of those are rentals, but I think we're sitting at around 254, 255, something like that. So, yeah, quite a lot of tanks, as you can see here, and if you've ever looked through my tank list as well, it's quite a lot of tanks. And today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my top 10 rarest. Now, a little bit about it. I'm not just going to go, here's this one, here's this one, here's this one. I've got gameplay on all of them. It will just be a little bit of gameplay. It's not going to be like a full game, because this video will be ridiculously long. But I'm just going to show you a little bit of gameplay. In a caption beforehand, I will tell you how many players have got each tank. Now, this is correct as of yesterday, which was the 7th of October 2021, as of recording this. So I'm recording it on the 8th. Was correct due to What Life. It's a website that a lot of people use for their World of Tanks stats. It's got a little tab that has EU server statistics, and then you can sort tanks by the amount of players. So I sort it in reverse. Look at which tanks have got the least players. There's a lot of like test tanks that clearly one person at Wargaming has played and they've got like one player. And then I've gone down and seen which tanks I have and gone in reverse order for most to least players of the rarest 10 tanks that I have. As well as that, I will tell you a little bit about each tank, and also A, how I got the tank, B, whether I expect, because some of these tanks I feel will get not necessarily rarer, because obviously everybody already has them, but I don't think they'll be sold again. And some of them, I do think they will get less rare. So I do think in about a year's time, if I update this list, it will have changed around quite a lot. So I will let you know whether I think they're going to get rarer or they're going to get more common. But yeah, other than that, let's jump into the first tank. I don't want to waffle on for too long because this already will probably be quite a long video. So let's jump into my 10th rarest tank. So, coming in at number 10 with around 15,000 players, we have the Concept 1B. Now, I just want to make another quick point on What Life. I'm not actually sure how accurate it is, but it seems to always be accurate. Like, it seems reasonable how many players play each tank based on how many I see in game. It also seems reasonable on, like, when there's new tanks added, how quickly players build up, and if, like, tanks are tested by community contributors first, you always have like 20 to 30 players play them. So I think it there is roughly accurate, but please take each number with a pinch of salt. I am honestly not 100% sure. But anyway, firstly, we have the Concept 1B, like I said, around 15,000 players. This thing was the ranked reward for the 2019-2020 season, I believe. It is a really nice tank. I've made several videos on this thing. It's one of the best tanks, if not probably the best tank at tier 9. It's absolutely insane. If you want a full tank review, I will leave links to all the tank reviews of the ones that I have done down in the description, and maybe like videos for other tanks if you want to know a bit more about them. I do expect this thing to get less rare over time, as it is available in the Ranked Battles Bond Store. Not the Bond Store, but the Ranked Battles Bond Store. And it is probably the best tank in there. So I do expect it to get less and less rare over time. So this will probably drop off my list at some point. Coming in at number 9, guys, we have the Object 244. This was actually quite a surprise to me, with around 14,000 players playing the tank. Yeah, this was quite a shock to me. I quite like this tank. I thought it'd been on sale apparently a lot more than it has. It's just a tier 6 premium heavy tank that has come on sale a couple of times in the premium store. I expect it to get less rare. I don't think it's going to be one of the tanks that that they never ever sell again, or sell on very rare occasions. So I think it comes in every now and again. However, I do expect it to stay relatively rare, because I don't think a lot of people know what it's all about. And it is a very good tank. Like, I did a tank review on it recently. So again, I'll leave the link to that description in that below. It's basically, it's the 85mm of a T-34-85 on an IS's hull with a KV-1S's turret near enough. I can't remember if that's exactly right. But that's pretty much what it is. And it's actually a really, really good heavy tank. So, yeah, it's a great tank. I do expect it to get less rare over time, but not particularly quickly. Coming in at number 8, guys, with around 13,800 players, is the BTSV, and oh how the mighty are fallen. This thing used to be one of the rarest tanks in the game. Now it's kind of very unrare. Well, it's not very unrare, it's still relatively rare, but there's a lot more of them rolling around now than there ever used to be. These things, well, you must have seen the Jingles video on them. I've made a couple of videos on them. You're seeing it in this little bit of gameplay here. It's a tier 3 premium tank. It's usually released with, like, only as a huge bundle with a massive, massive, massive amount of gold. So you do have to spend quite a lot of money to be able to get hold of this thing. In that, you still get people buy it. Like, you still get people buy it. You're still going to always get people want this thing. So I do think it will get less rare. Kind of similar to the 244, though. I think this, instead of people wanting it, not wanting it so much, making it get less rare quite slowly, I think it will be more people not wanting to spend money on it will make it less rare quite slowly. The tank itself is definitely not as good as it used to be. I mean, this game, I played this game on stream and it's quite funny. I'm going to try and keep it rolling until one of the funniest moments, which I think is coming up in a minute. But this tank, it used to be a lot better because there's kind of been a power creep of pen at tier 2 and tier 3. So now pretty much everything pens it and everything's got bigger guns. But it's still really good fun. You can still drive around in it really quickly. And if there are any unfortunate TKSs, then unlucky for them. Oh dear. In at number 7, we've got a tier 10. We've got the T22 medium. Once again, one of those tanks that used to be a hell of a lot rarer. Oh, well, all of these tanks on this list used to be a hell of a lot rarer. I don't think I've really got any of them when they were crazy rare. Like, I've only got them in black market, etc. This tank was available during the black market at the beginning of 2021. It was originally available for missions for the Steel Hunter game mode, if anybody is veteran enough of World of Tanks to remember that. I'm really annoyed about this tank and then not annoyed at the same time. I got it on the black market. I spent way too many credits on it, yes. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, you're not really T22 owners because obviously you didn't get it back in the day when it first came out and when it was like first really rare, etc, etc, etc. I was only actually 2 missions off getting the T22 legit back in, what was it, 2015 or something like that. And the main reason I couldn't complete those 2 missions was because people stopped playing the game mode. I was 2 missions off, people stopped playing the game mode, and I couldn't get games quick enough to actually get in the, like, to try and complete the missions. Bearing in mind that they were some of the harder missions on that mode, and I'd completed one of the mission 15s. It was just one like mission 14 and one mission 15. And basically, I was sitting in the queue for 5 minutes, waiting, sitting in the queue for 5 minutes, waiting, like the queue resetting, and then sitting in the queue for 2 minutes, and then I get a game, and I wouldn't be able to do it because it was like the wrong kind of game. And it would just be so frustrating, so I never actually got around to do this. This is one of those tanks on the list. I expect it to stay relatively rare. I don't think Wargaming will release it that much. I may eat my own words, obviously, with all of these like predictions. I have absolutely no idea. They are just purely educated guesses. I do not know. But I expect this thing to stay relatively rare because I can't imagine them releasing it again. In terms of the tank itself, it's alright. You saw me at the start doing the one thing that it is amazing at, which is reverse side scraping. You've got the 45-degree hull, like wedge-shaped hull. It's amazing at reverse side scraping. However, pretty much every single other stat on the vehicle, play an Object 140, play an Object 907, or even play a T62A. The DPM is down, the gun handling is down. It's just not as good as the 140. Just as an overall tank, it's not as good as the 140. And then obviously by extension, definitely not as good as the 907. But anyway, that is my 7th rarest tank. Coming in at number 6, guys, we have the KV4 Kreslavskiy. I definitely have pronounced that wrong. With around 9,600. I literally just looked at my sheet saying what it was, but I've kind of forgotten. Anyway, you just saw how many people it had. But yeah, this thing is a tier 8 premium tank. It's currently available in the Bond store. I think I got it in the Bond store. And so yeah, this is one of those tanks that I really do expect to get less rare over time, because people can actively, like, you can go onto the server right now and you can go out and buy this thing as long as the Bond store hasn't changed and I haven't forgotten anything. But yeah, this tank is actually, I think a lot of people thought this tank was absolutely crap, but this tank is actually pretty good. This game I'm going to get completely overrun, but it's really, really good. It's really good side scraper. Obviously, it has the advantage, a lot of heavy tanks on this list, if they are rare, have the advantage of being rare, that not many people actually know where to shoot them. So they're usually a bit better. Obviously, I've got 257s shooting me in this game. But it is quite a good tank. Don't take that game as, oh my god, it's absolutely awful. But it is actually quite a good tank. So yeah, it's definitely, in my eyes, if you have the bonds to spare, obviously I would prioritize using bonds to get bond equipment and stuff for your meta tanks if you play Clan Wars and stuff like that. But beyond that, if you do have bonds to spare, this is actually quite a good pickup of a tank. So yeah. So breaking into the top 5, guys, coming in at my 5th rarest tank, we have the Carro C45T, Carro de Combattimento, however you say it. Again, pronunciations are not my strong point. Yeah, this thing is a tier 10, another tier 10. It's a Clan Wars reward vehicle. Again, one of those tanks that I expect to get less rare. At the minute, it has around, what did I say, was it 7,000 players? I think I looked... Seriously, I look at these just before I play the clips. I look at the number and then go, oh yeah, I've forgotten. God damn it, Max. But yeah, this thing has around 7,000 players playing it. This, again, is one of those that I do definitely expect to get less rare. I'm not sure if Wargaming will release it every single campaign, because they do keep some of them back, some campaigns. Although, I'm pretty sure, as this one was relatively well received, like, it's a good tank, but it's not OP. I think it will be one of those tanks that they do release quite often in the majority of campaigns, just because, you know, it's something good to release. About the tank, it has got a 120 millimeter auto reloader. It has 4 seconds between shells, so you can't just fire them out in quick succession. And the reloads are quite long on the shells. However, the tank does have pretty decent armor. The mobility is pretty good as well. It's an all-round pretty good tank. It's quite a unique tank as well, so I do really quite like it. Even though I haven't played a huge amount of games in it. Again, it's one of those tanks that I've got at the minute, which is actually really annoying, because all of the most recent tier 10s I've got, I haven't really played a huge amount of games in them, because I unlocked so many so quickly, and now I've gone straight into 3 marking certain tanks. So I haven't actually played a lot of games in them. But it is a very good tank. If you do play Clan Wars, obviously, as soon as you've picked up, like, the Chieftain, the 907, this thing I would recommend, obviously, as well, given that the M60 and the not T95 E6, the 121B are in the Bond store as well. This is definitely quite a good pickup. You've kind of got to choose between this, the T95 E6, and the VK7201K. So, yeah. Right, now we're really starting to get down into the nitty-gritty tanks. Coming in at number 4, we have got the A32. This is one that is incredibly rare. Only 5,000 players actually have this. And I believe the majority of those, like myself, got it during the black market event at the beginning of this year. Incredibly rare tank. I think it was released originally as part of like the pre-sale for World of Tanks, so way back in like 2010, 2011. You had to pre-order like a gold package to be able to get this tank. I got it in the black market event, like I say. I would like to think this is one of those tanks that they are going to keep rare, because I don't think it actually sold out that quickly. It wasn't one of the ones where you had to do it instantly, otherwise you didn't get it. I honestly can't remember though. But yeah, it's actually quite a fun tank, and I actually really do quite like it. It's a really nice vehicle. It's kind of a bit like it's halfway between an A20 and a T34. It's got a little bit more armor than the A20. It's got a really short, like stubby 76mm gun, which at close range is pretty good. Accuracy and everything at long range isn't the best. And the aim time's not particularly good. But yeah, all in all, this is a really good tank. Like I say, I would like to think Wargaming are going to keep it relatively rare. At the minute with only 5,000 players, I would like to think that if you really want this tank, if it comes up, you're going to want to get it straight away, because I don't think there will be many opportunities where it will actually be released. However, like I say, you never know. But really cool tank, A32, coming in at number 4. Now, coming in at number 3, so we're now into the top 3, really on the we're now getting very, very rare, and you're really not going to see a lot of these in battle. We've got the Su-76I, the tier 3 Russian premium tank destroyer. This thing was released as just a normal tier 3 premium back in, I can't remember when it was a while ago. And after about 2 hours on sale, they pulled it because it was too overpowered. This thing is honestly insane. It's ridiculously good. It benefits from the old tank destroyers, like old tank destroyer class benefit of maintaining more camo after firing. So I'm pretty sure in this thing, I have about 20% camo after firing, which is absolutely insane. You can do stupid things at low tier with that. The tank is relatively quick as well, which is obviously always worse because it means you can kind of dictate at what range you engage people. The armor is, it's not great. It has a bit that you can sometimes bounce some tanks. The gun is pretty good. It's got pretty good DPM and everything like that. The accuracy is not particularly great, but all in all, it's a very, very strong tank. I got this thing from the black market as one of, I think it was like you got the random pick tank like 5 times, and you had to re-roll it every time, and then you kind of decided which one you wanted to keep. I went for the Su-76I. Not a lot of people did, which is why it's incredibly rare. I believe only around 3,500 players on EU actually have this tank, which is quite nice and quite special to actually be like, oh, I'm one of those people. Again, I would like to say that they won't release this. This one I would like to think for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's already an incredibly rare tank. Obviously not that stopped Wargaming particularly much. And number 2, it is also an insanely good tank. This thing is kind of like what the E25 is like at tier 7, but down at tier 3, where you can club all those little baby seals, those players who have no idea what is going on. Coming in at number 2, guys, missing out on that top spot, we have the Škoda T45, the tier 7 premium Czechoslovakian heavy tank. And this one actually kind of surprised me, because this was the first Czechoslovakian heavy tank into the game, but it was in the ranked bond store for last season, so you had to get bonds to be able to get it. I believe it's still in there this season, but nobody wants to buy it because this season you can also buy the Concept 1B, so I don't know why you would get this thing over the Concept 1B. And then also, we then have the Charlemagne in there as well this season. So I really don't know why you would buy this thing, and I think that's probably why this thing is so rare. There are only 2,000 players who currently own this vehicle. Now, I do expect that to go up, don't get me wrong, because this thing is currently for sale. It's currently a tank that people can buy in-game. Like, it's not on sale. You can actually just go, oh, bonds, ranked bond store, here we go. So, yeah. About the tank in general, it's fairly average. It's a alright tier 7 tank. The gun's a little weak. The armor is quite good, but I don't know, again, if that's just a benefit of the fact that because it's so rare, people don't actually know where to shoot it, so they just kind of aim center of mass and hope. The gun's pretty good. The mobility's the gun's pretty average. The mobility's alright. But yeah, it's a fairly just a very meh tank. It's got dinner plate syndrome. It's like you put a dinner plate in your mouth and try and describe it as It's just very isn't it? It's not an amazing tank. It's not a shocking tank. I've actually played quite well in it, but again, like I said, I don't know if that's down to the armor. I don't know if that's down to the fact that just nobody has it. Again, I have done a full tank review, so I will leave the link to that in the description. All of the tanks that I have done other videos on, I will try and leave the video, or at least one of each video, in the description, so you guys can get a better overview on what these tanks are actually about. Without further ado, let's go into my number 1 rarest tank at the moment. So, in at the number 1 spot, and this is kind of a poor timing for this video because I do think this is kind of a bit clickbait. Well, not clickbait because you've had all the other 10 tanks. But coming in at number 1, we do have the Charlemagne. And the main reason for that, don't get me wrong, is because it is a relatively new tank and not a lot of people have it. But off the criteria I'm going off, it is at the moment my number 1 rarest tank. Only 1,500 players on the EU server currently have this tank. I do expect that to go up, obviously, don't get me wrong, but I do kind of think it does have the same benefits to rarity as the Škoda that we just went through, due to the fact it being in the ranked battle store. I think a lot of people will obviously go for the Concept 1B before they go for this, and obviously depending on how quickly people make bonds and how much discount and stuff they get on them over ranked battle seasons, with the amount of tanks that Wargaming are releasing these days for bonds and stuff like that, honestly, I don't know if people will pick this, because I think people will go for like the Concept 1B, and then I think people will go, oh, I want the 121B or the M60 in the actual bond store, and I think this will be right down on the list. And I think by the time people build up enough bonds to get this thing, especially considering obviously they're going to want to be buying equipment and stuff like that as well, I do genuinely think that this thing may actually stay relatively rare. Do I think it will remain top on my list, number 1 most rare? Absolutely not. I think the rarest tank I have, if I was to take everything into consideration, would be the SU-76i. That was number 3 on my list. But yeah, as of right now, this is the rarest tank in my garage. It's a pretty good tank, actually. A lot of people looked at it when it first got announced, and they went, oh my god, it looks absolutely terrible. I actually quite like it. I think it's quite good. If you can get over the 597 meters per second shell velocity on the standard rounds, which obviously is terrible, it's pretty good. But in saying that, that shell velocity, I haven't actually noticed it hindering me that much. Obviously, sniping at long range is difficult, but it's not impossible. It's not like 300 meters per second like some of the low tier British howitzers, which are literally like a catapult. But it's not great, but it's honestly not shocking. All in all, it's actually quite a good tank. I do actually quite like this thing, and I do genuinely quite enjoy playing it. It's quite a fun vehicle. It kind of reminds me a bit of like the Chimera, the tier 8 British medium tank that's available for personal missions. But yeah, there is my top 10 rarest tanks, guys. Obviously, when I looked at what was rare and what was not, some glaringly obvious ones that were missing on my list that I thought were a lot rarer, not as rare as I thought they were. Panzer 2J doesn't even crack the top 10 anymore. The Panzer 5-4 doesn't even crack the top 10. The 279E almost did. So personal missions tanks now no longer crack my top 10. Because more people are getting them. Hint, hint, Wargaming, please give us the third campaign of personal missions. I want to play some more. And yeah, it's just some tanks I'm like, really? They're that rare? And some tanks I'm like, they're really not that rare. I will leave a link as well in the description. Oh my god, I'm leaving so many links in the description. Please, Future Max, remember all of these, otherwise you're going to look very stupid. To the website and to the page where I got the numbers for this tank. Like I said, they were correct as of yesterday, as of recording this video, which was the 7th of October 2021. If they have all changed, don't blame me. People are getting more tanks. And also, I do not know how truly accurate this list is. I just picked it because by the looks of it, it looks relatively accurate based on how many people I do see in game and based on how like how the numbers change when everything's released and everything like that. So anyway, other than that, thank you all so much for watching, guys. We're now going to look at... Oh, no, that's fine. I was going to say, we're now going to look at a VK100. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. Standard YouTuber crap. If you have, honestly, please do give me a thumbs up. Do give the video a like. Please let me know in the comments what your most rare tank is. Go through to the list. Let me know what the rarest tank you have in your garages. Is it more rare than my rarest ones? Is it less rare? Is it the same? Just let me know. Make sure you subscribe as well if you're not already, guys. And make sure you give the video... make sure you turn notifications on so you know when I'm uploading. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching. And I'll see you next time.